All right, guys. Donna here with Author Chat, and today's guest is Lawrence Hall. Hi, Lawrence. Thank you for joining me.
No
Congratulations
problem.
on your new release, which came out May 20th, correct?
Yes.
And it's called Wing Woman, The Ladies of Oris, correct?
Rias, Rias.
Arias. Okay,
Right.
book one. You've gotten great reviews, and you're kind of a unicorn in the romance industry here because you're a guy.
Yeah.
So, what made you decide to dive into romance?
So the funny thing is, it actually started with my wife. She picked up what is it, Twilight. She picked up the Twilight series, and she started with that first book. And she has a bit. I always tease her and mess with her a little bit, tell her, she has an OCD, but to the full extreme, because like when she locks on to something, she kills it. So she kept watching that Twilight movie so much that I just totally got tired of seeing Edward and Bella. Then she got the book, and she was just every waking moment was reading that book. She had to have read it like 20 times straight. So I know why I was like, okay, look, you know what? There are other books out here that you can get. So she said, well, if you want me to read something else, then go give me something else. So I was like, that's fine, because I've always been an avid reader even since I was young. So we went to one day we were shopping at Target, and I went to the books aisle, and there was I think it was Laura Lee. I think it was one of her books, and I picked up. I didn't know who she was. I didn't even know that there was a romance genre, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So I picked it up, and I was like, here, try this. So then we bought it. She went home. She loved it. Then she started like all the rest of the romance readers that I've ever encountered. She started buying book after book after book after book after book after book after book. So then I'm like, okay, look, you just cost us a little bit too much money with this. So why don't I write you a book? Because I've always had an active imagination, and I'm a storyteller. I have a background in screenwriting, so I was like, you know what, I can write you a book, no problem, no problem. So I went ahead and wrote her a book, and that actually turned out to be my first book, Vigilante. And that was about 8 yeyears ago, and she still hasn't read it yet. I'm on her TBR list, but that's basically how I got started. Because she has so many other romance books, Yeah, she's like, I'll get to you eventually.
Oh!
I've heard that. I've heard that multiple times. So
But
that's why I
look,
always tell people when they read my stuff, and like they'll say, Lawrence, I'm gonna get your book. Lawrence, I got your book. It's on my TBR. I hate being on TBR list. I hate it because I know the TBR list is death. I know it. Romance readers puts a book on their TBR list, they put it on the wish list, and they never get to it because the very next book comes out. So yeah, that's my background.
so let me ask you this, because I occasionally, I'm sure I drive my husband nuts asking him, "Does this sound right?" Do you do that with your wife when you're
In one
reading?
way.
When you're writing, as far as your writing goes, do you sometimes sit there and go, "So, honey, does this sound okay?"
Actually, no.
Okay.
I have. I'll be honest. The new book I just had, Wing Woman, she helped me work through that plot line.
Okay.
There was a couple of things that I was kind of stuck on, and I bounced it by her. And she was like, "Well, they could do this, they could do that." I was like, "Great." And she actually, the book I'm working on now, she actually really helped me with that plot line. Outside of that, no, because she doesn't read my stuff anyway, so it really doesn't matter.
I think that's the curse of your spouse just goes, "I'm not ready." Yeah, I love it. Nigel is the bad guy in my book, my first book, My Days. He's just a party boy extraordinaire. And my husband loved when I would read bits to him about this guy just being a rock star, a total rock star. But he doesn't want to read the book. He also has some visual problems, but it's like he just likes the little excerpts.
Right,
So
I
I
got
get
you.
it. So tell us a little bit about Wing Woman and what inspired it.
Oh man, so Wing Woman is arguably, now this, keep in mind, this is my opinion, but arguably this could be the greatest book ever written. So I just want everybody to know that.
Of course.
Basically, what Wing Woman is, it's a young lady. She's 29, and she's a consultant. She's a business consultant, and what she does is she teaches men how to attract women uh, and build a life with them, not just attract them to have sex with them or anything like that. Her whole focus is to help them find love. And a lot of times, I actually told my daughter that she didn't actually believe it. That there are a lot of guys out there that have approach anxiety when it comes to approaching women. Unfortunately, women get hit with, approaches all the time, so they don't necessarily compute that that's the case. But there are a lot of guys who will just sit there and watch a beautiful woman or women they find attractive, just walk right by them and not say anything because they're too scared to approach them. So her consulting business is she helps men overcome their approach anxiety and their clumsy attempts to go attract the woman that they want, and then hopefully from there they can progress and build a relationship, towards love. So that's the goal. That's her whole purpose in the book. What happens is she's relaxing one night in a lounge, and a guy comes and approaches her, and of course, because that's her business, she's already critiquing his approach, and she's like, "Your approach is trash. You really need help." And he's like, "Whoa, what are you talking about, right?" But she's not really on that level of, I'm trying to consult with you. She's not looking for another client at that moment. She's like, you know what? I'm just really looking to have some fun anyway. So despite your bad approach, just come on and go with me. And they go ahead and, sparks fly. And then after that one night of sparks flying, she has to go to a baby shower with her best friend. Her best friend is hosting a baby shower. Well, come to find out, the guy that she just had that one night spark fest with, that's her best friend's brother, who she hasn't seen in years. So her best friend, because he has approach anxiety, he's an alpha male. He's doing great in business. He's in shape. He's fit. He's everything that a woman would want in an alpha male. He has approach anxiety, and that actually is realistic as well. There are a lot of guys who are alpha males, fit. They just don't want to approach women. And so what happens is his sister, which is Maggie. Maggie's her name. Crystal's the sister, and James is the guy. Crystal hires Maggie to teach James on how to approach women because she's worried that he's going to wind up with the wrong one, not knowing that they had just had their best the night before. So that's the premise of it. What inspired it? Honestly, I don't even know, to be honest with you.
Hey, at least you're honest about it. I mean, you don't always know.
This was a situation where I was scheduled to write another book. I was going to write the next book in my Vigilante series, which is a paranormal romance. And I sat down at the computer, and this voice just started talking to me. And I was like, this is not a voice that's in any of my other books. What is this? But it was so strong. And I'm sure, the voice was just so strong. I just wrote down what it said. And it's the very opening to Wing Woman. So when a person opens up Wing Woman, that first opening paragraph is what that voice was telling me.
That's awesome.
Now, here's the funny part about it. That voice actually was Crystal's voice, who is the best friend and the sister. But then when I went, and I said, okay, well, let me keep going, because I was like, I'm feeling inspired. I'm really motivated and moving. So I started typing it out. I was like, okay, what's your name? And she was like, the voice is like Crystal. I was like, cool, Crystal. All right, Crystal, what do you look like? And she said, I can't remember what she said, but basically what happened was she ran her hand through her blonde curls. But Crystal was like, I don't have blonde curls. So I was like, then who are you and who's the person with the blonde curls? Blonde curls was actually Maggie. So that's how I started going. The characters just came together. I don't really know where they came from. That's just what happened. And so what happened was, for the first paragraph, you read the first paragraph, that's actually Crystal speaking, but it's Maggie's words.
Nice.
And then Crystal wound up getting developed later on, and so did Maggie.
Nice.
So that's how it all came together.
Nice.
I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason to it.
There doesn't have to be. I mean, I think at a certain point, it just comes to you and you just go with it. You have to. Otherwise, you just have to.
That's exactly what happened. I literally just went with it. One of the things that I used to not necessarily promote, but to get the readers excited is the character interviews. So I started going back and interviewing the characters. And these characters, they definitely have a life of their own. This is the only book that I can honestly say, I don't know where these characters came from. I don't know what they're doing. But whenever I talk to them, they're doing their own thing. So, yeah, I definitely went with this one. That was the right phraseology to use.
So you have 5 other books for sale currently on Amazon, including 3 books from the Vigilante series, which you just mentioned you're going to be writing another one. Can you tell us a little bit about this series? And I know the inspiration was you wanted to write a book for your wife. Right. But was there more than that? So,
Vigilante, the series, because what happened was, going back to this whole origin of how Lawrence got started in romance, when I asked my wife, I told her, I said, you know what, I can write you a romance book. because at that point she probably had hundreds of books at that point. I was like, this is ridiculous. Okay, save us some money. I'll write the book for you. So I asked her. I said, all these subgenres of romance, she's got historical, contemporary historical, time travel, sci. I mean, she got all this stuff that romance readers have. Right? She had all these different authors, all these different books. I said, is there a superhero one? Because I'm big on superheroes. And she was like, no. She said, there's books out there that have blah, 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 blah. I said, so there's no superhero one. And she said, not that I'm aware of. So I said, okay, I'll go ahead and write you a superhero one. So I sat down, and that's where Vigilante came from, because I said, I'm going to fit a niche that she doesn't have, so she'll be tempted to read it, and she'll read it, and we can move forward. So Vigilante, the whole series, started with the fact that it's a superhero. If you want to compare him to anything, he's like Batman, but he's Batman with powers.
Okay.
So he has the ability to create solid objects out of thin air. He was a police officer. He was killed in battle in the line of duty, but he was killed by a chemical explosion. The chemical explosion imbued him with powers. He actually was buried alive for 15 years as he was trying to climb his way out from being underground. Wow. And so he kept, and he was developing his powers through that. So it's a whole background with him. I've just taken it and run with it because I really like this series. And so I had to give him a nemesis and, really develop the whole world and things of that nature. So that's how Vigilante got started. That's why it's actually a situation where this series is going to continue to go. I have mentally scheduled 7 books, but there'll probably be more just because I really love the characters and things of that nature. But that's how Vigilante got started. That's how that's the basic crux of it,
Well, and the fact that you love superheroes, this is kind of creating your own superhero. So I can see that. That's why it's a character that's near and dear to your heart. So that's why you have the potential for so many books, is because when a character is near and dear, they just come to you and give you the information when you need it.
Yeah.
Unless somebody heists you and decides to give you something else. But so going in a different direction, let's talk about The Frog and the Lady. It's a romantic comedy. What was the inspiration behind that, and why did you decide to do romantic comedy, since that is so far removed from Vigilante?
Okay, so I've only been published for about a year. It's a little over a year now. And again, going back to my origin,
your origin story is
my origin story. I was trying to find something that my wife would read.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I did this. You didn't read this paranormal romance I wrote. How about if I do a romantic comedy? And so I said, okay, I'll go and do this romantic comedy. And that's actually what got me started. I'm trying to find something I'm trying to write something that she'll read. And the funny thing is, because I'm so new to the genre of romance, I don't really know what I want to write myself yet. So I'm willing to dabble and try different things. I had a veteran author tell me that, when as an author, you want to pretty much stay to a subgenre, so that your readers get used to you. I'm kind of all over the place with the ideas I have in my head, so I can't lock into any one thing. So when I did the paranormal romance, it was like, okay, you know what? She didn't read that. Let me try romantic comedy. Hey, I think I'm pretty funny anyway, so let me go ahead and try it and see what happens. And so that's how I got started with the romantic comedy. It's called The Frog and the Lady because the inspiration of it came, I was on Instagram, and as I got on Instagram, because when I started writing, I said, let me get on Instagram, let me get on Facebook, let me get on all these various social media platforms and really dig into this romance society that's been formed, this romance culture. So my starting point was Instagram. And I got on Instagram and I connected with all these different romance authors and romance readers. On Instagram, as you connect with people, you start to see their stuff on your feed.
Right.
So I was scrolling through Instagram one day, and of course, all this was, this was before I actually came up with the concept. I was scrolling through Instagram, and all I saw was alpha male billionaire, alpha male firefighter, alpha male marine, alpha male this. I was sitting up there like looking at all these different half-naked guys scrolling through my feed. They're all extremely built. Uh-huh. They're all, just alpha male. It dawned on me, as a guy, I said, this is not realistic.
No.
I said, and I actually read, I'm not going to name the author or whatever, but my wife was like, she bought me a book. She said, here, read this book. So I read a little bit of the book, and the guy was talking. And I was like, I had to put it down because I'm like, this is not how men speak. I'm sorry, I'm saying this is just not realistic. So between that book and was looking at all these half-naked guys running around with six-pack abs, and they're all these different dudes. Of course, there are men that are like that. That's true. But I'm like, I didn't see anything close to a realistic guy. So I said, what happens if, the thought just popped in my head, because again, my brain is kind of all over the place. So the thought just popped in my head, okay, what happens if there was an alpha male? Because at first I said, okay, I'm not going to write the typical alpha male. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I got a kind of rebellious spirit with it. I'm not going to do it. So, but I can't write a beta male. Because if I write a beta, no one's probably going to buy that. No one's probably going to read that, because everything that I see so far is alpha. Okay, so we got to give him something. What if I write an alpha male that is afraid of bugs? I don't think I've ever seen that before. And I said, because most of the women, actually all the women in my individual life, in my circle, they all, whenever there's a bug, they all call the guys. Come handle this bug, come kill this bug, come deal with this bug. I said, what happens if the situation was reversed, where you have this alpha male, but he's afraid of bugs, and it's the woman that actually takes care of the bugs. She's the one that actually doesn't have a problem dealing with the bugs. So I looked it up. There's something called microzoophobia, fear of small animals. So I said, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write a romantic comedy about a guy, because just that concept alone to me is hilarious. I'm going to write a romantic comedy about a guy. He's an alpha male. He's everything that, he's successful in business. He attracts the women. He's built. He spends all his time in the gym. But as soon as he sees a bug, he loses it.
That's a good concept, though. It's funny that you mentioned about the six-pack abs, because I have my own Facebook group. We all do. And I was posting pictures of the guys with the built that are built and stuff. And I have a friend, she's like, "Oh, he's just too much drama. He's too much work. There's no way. He's too much drama." Every time I post something like that, she immediately is like, "He's too much drama." So not all women want that perfect.
And it's funny that you say that, because I actually, all my reviews, they all say pretty much they love how I did that take on the alpha male. And it's like a lot of women said that's refreshing to see, I attribute it to the fact that I'm a guy. So they're like, it's refreshing to see the males take in romance on a man. So that's cool. But no, I've actually run into a lot of women that's like, you know what, I actually kind of like the fact that you didn't give me the typical alpha male. And then I've had some women that's like, look, we read romance to escape, we read romance for fantasy. We want the alpha male. So I'm like, okay, I got you. I got you. So there's a market for everybody. And I've definitely come to realize that with this romance culture, that there's definitely a book out there for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So the Frog and the Lady is a book for if a person wants to laugh, they can laugh. And if they want to laugh at an alpha male, then there you go.
All right. So a reverse harem. That's Bonnie's game.
Yes.
What made you decide to write that?
A dare.
A dare. Okay.
So basically what happened with this one was, like I said, I'm connected with authors such as yourself. I'm connected. I consider myself to be an engaging type of guy. I have no problem dealing with, speaking with people and such like that. And networking, everything is all about networking. So as I've started networking with the people in the romance community, one of the authors was like, I had no idea about reverse harem, because like I said, I'm still learning. I'm only a year into this thing. So one of the people I first connected with was a reverse harem author, and I was like, what the heck is a reverse harem? She was like, basically, it's one guy, one woman, three or more guys, and I was like, no. No, I'm not gonna. And I actually said that when I first put my Facebook group there, I did my first couple of Facebook lives, stuff like that. They was like, "Hey, Lawrence, what about reverse harem?" I was like, "You'll never see Lawrence Hall write a reverse harem book. I don't share. Like, I'm all about my particular woman. That's it. I'm not sharing this with nobody." And then so basically, the author she dared me. She was like, "Why don't you see if you can write it?" And I took that as a dare. She didn't verbally say, I dare you to write it. But it was more like, you say you're looking for all these different things and you say you're good. Hey, what about tackling reverse harem? So I was like, you know what, fine. Cause I'm very competitive too. I was like, you know what, fine. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna write a reverse harem just to show y'all I can write a reverse harem. I'm not gonna write reverse harem anymore after that. So I wrote Bonnie's Game. And actually, because I did it. I started reading because I do my research.
Yeah.
So I read a couple of reverse harem books before I got started on. I was like, okay, actually, you know what? This actually isn't that bad. It's not what I thought it was. Because my mind had all kind of pictures and stuff like, no, I'm not doing it. But when I actually read a couple of them, I was like, okay, this is actually not that bad. And Bonnie's Game, I actually had the first 30 pages of this book written back in like 2012.
Okay.
I just never finished it, and it was just Bonnie and her boyfriend. So I was like, okay, let me go ahead and just add a couple of other characters that can, and we'll move from there. So I already had the concept, I just never finished it. And I said that's probably why, because it was sitting there waiting to turn into Bonnie's Game, the reverse harem novel. So that's how Bonnie's Game came. So it was basically a dare. I don't even know if she realized she dared me to do it.
But you took it.
Yeah, I took it as a challenge. And I'm the kind of person that backs down from a challenge. So, you got to challenge me. Outside of, hey, Lawrence, I challenge you to go jump off a bridge. I'm not going to do that.
No.
But it was like...
A challenge within reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, what amazes me when you're talking about the romance, so that's acceptable. The reverse harem's acceptable, but a guy cheating in his marriage is not acceptable.
I know, that's very interesting. It's
but,
an interesting concept.
But a woman cheating in her marriage is okay.
In the romance community.
Yes, this is what I've heard, and I'm just like, really? It's kind of the same thing.
True. I haven't come across that yet. I'm glad you're giving me a heads up here.
I write rocker romances, and that I've been told by certain people that, well, rock stars don't cheat. It's like, reality? Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. But so it's interesting when you look at the different takes from romance, because it's all different.
I guess that makes sense, and it goes along the lines of the fantasy element and how they're looking to escape their daily lives.
Yeah.
So if their daily life is, you know what, I'm sick of you, you're my husband, I need to get away from you, I can see why the woman to be outside marriage would be acceptable more so than the man. So I can see it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but it's just one of those things where it's like, well, sometimes, it's really hard to expect, though, a rock star not to cheat, or a celebrity, because in most cases, they do. So, out of all the books you've written, I think I already know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask anyway. Out of all the books you've written, which one is your favorite? And which one did you have the most fun writing?
Okay, so I actually had a feeling you want to ask that question, that I thought about it. And it's not a cop-out. It really isn't a cop-out. I don't have a favorite.
That's fine.
Because they all have a different role.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I spent so much time with the characters, if I had to nail it down, I probably would say The Frog and the Lady.
Okay.
Because to me, and I've had people say they want a sequel, but I exhausted those characters. I poured so much into them. I actually say this all the time. I think I touched that upper level, like that Shangri-La level of comedy. I don't think I could ever get there again. To me, that's how funny that book is. Like, it's hilarious to the nth degree. I don't think I could, so I don't even really want to write a follow-up to it. I have a concept, but every time I think about the concept, I'm like, that's just not funny enough to me to match The Frog and the Lady. So I think I would lean towards that one, but only by a smidgen, because whenever I write, I know whenever I write, I pour so much into the book, into the characters, that they all fill their own roles for me. So, and they're all a little bit of my personality. So it's like choosing a part of yourself that you like better than another part of yourself, but you like all parts of yourself. Right. So, what was the second part of your question? I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, it was. And which ones did you have the most fun writing?
Now, see, if you'd asked me what my favorite character is, that I got hands down.
Well, you can tell me your favorite character. That's fine.
My favorite character is the bad guy in Vigilante.
Okay.
He is my favorite character because I just love that guy. He's so quirky and he's so evil. I was the guy that grew up when I was playing with my Transformers at the age of 10. My bad guys won, the Decepticons won. We killed the Autobots. I used to sit there and watch cartoons why is it that Shredder never beats the Ninja Turtles? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, he's got all these massive plans. These plans are great. Why can't he win? So I actually like going even modern with the Avengers and how Marvel did their movies and how Thanos actually won in the first movie of Infinity War. I was like, yeah, thank you. It's about time the bad guy, because a really good bad guy doesn't believe he's a bad guy.
No.
So why is it that if the bad guy doesn't believe he's a bad guy, he can't win every so often, just every so often? So that's my favorite character. So I'm gonna go back now. So which one I had the most fun writing? It would which one did I have the most? It's a tie between Wing Woman and the Frog and the Lady.
Okay.
But I think it'll be Wing Woman. I think it'd be Wing Woman. I think I've had the most fun writing Wing Woman. Yes, I'm gonna go with Wing Woman because the Frog and the Lady, I cracked up laughing every page I wrote. I bust out laughing. I burst just laughing on it. But Wing Woman is the only book that I've written where when I typed the N, I clapped. I literally typed the N and started clapping. So that's the only book that's made me emotionally respond like that to what the characters did. And like I said, by the fact that they pushed themselves forward and totally blew up my schedule, I think I'll go with Wing Woman as the most fun I've had writing.
Okay. Well, and now knowing that you have a background in screenwriting, I have two other follow-up questions here. One is, when you write, do you basically live in the moment of that character when you're writing? Like an actor does. Okay, that's what I kind of figured. And secondly, out of your books, what would you like to see turned into either a television show or a movie?
Wing Woman.
Okay.
Wing Woman. I was actually thinking about, because the way I write is visual, and I've had people tell me this, that they can really see it being on screen. Because everything I write is from the visual perspective. So my characters are always moving. They're always doing something. They just can't stay static. So even in the middle of what they're talking, I'll say they started moving their hands around. I mean, I just say that because I'm visually just recreating what I see in my mind.
Right.
But out of all of them, Wing Woman, I think, would be the one that would translate best to screen because there's no paranormal element to it. It's just basically two people who are living their everyday lives dealing with everyday consequences. So I actually think that that's the one. And then there's so many other elements to it that I haven't touched because those are going to lead to other books. Even though Wing Woman is a standalone and all the loose ends are tied up in it, there's other avenues that can be explored there. So I think Wing Woman would be the one that I would lean towards. Like if a director came to me and was like, which one of your 6 books, you can only choose one that I'm going to present to Hollywood, it would be Wing Woman.
And also, when you think about it, what you're talking about, I mean, I worked on sets and stuff, so your production costs would be minimal because you're not dealing with a lot of sets. So, yes, that's a good selling point.
I think it's really only like 3 or 4 locales in there.
Yeah.
One's a coffee shop, one's a bar. I mean, you could,
you could build all that, mock it up in a soundstage, and then you're good to go. So let's talk about you. Your bio says your blood type is caffeine. What is your choice of fuel for your need? Do you coffee, tea, Red Bull? What's your poison?
So I used to drink 5-Hour Energy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I drank so much 5-Hour Energy, I got sick. So I said, I got to stop drinking 5-Hour Energy. So then I stepped down to Red Bull. Red Bull, somebody walked by me and was like, if you drink Red Bull, your heart's going to stop. I said, okay. So now I'm on coffee. I drink Starbucks mocha. It's the pack that comes in like a chocolate mocha. Uh-huh. I'll make myself that, or I'll go to Starbucks and get a cup of coffee. I don't like tea, so I can't do tea. So it's either Starbucks mocha or it's Mountain Dew. I'll drink a 6-pack of Mountain Dew in a day if someone doesn't stop me. So I'm constantly flying.
That's why you're so energetic and bouncy.
You know what though? It's funny because I haven't had any. No, I had one cup of coffee that was early this morning. This is just me.
Okay.
This is me. So when I get caffeine, I'm at a whole nother level.
Wow. So your bio states that you love romantic comedies and have seen almost every one of them in the last 20 years. I'm sure this wasn't always your choice.
No. I am a guy. I write romance, but I am a guy. Okay, so it's like, look, come on. I don't want to see this tonight. No. And we wound up watching it anyway.
Of course. Because you're a good husband, and that's why.
Yeah. Yes.
So
Not to stop you, but it's so funny because a lot of times, let's watch this movie. Okay, you can pick the next movie. I can agree with that. That's fair. That's reasonable. Then the next movie comes along, and somehow this is not my choice.
I meant the next one.
Oh, it's always a that. Yeah, it's very rare that next one actually turns into a movie that I want to see.
So you were a teacher?
Yes.
And what did you teach?
10 years. I taught math and science. I was in elementary school. Middle school. Mm-hmm. Middle school math and science in 7th and 8th grade. And it was a private school, so I also bounced up to 9th grade for 1 year, and I did science and math.
Did you like teaching?
You know what? I actually enjoy teaching. I do. Even now, I get my fix on pouring into the next generation. I coach basketball. So
cool.
I actually did enjoy teaching. I didn't enjoy the extra things that came along with teaching. In other words, i.e. administration and parents. If all I could do would just be to teach the children, I'd be cool. But dealing with the parents, and it's so funny because watching this COVID-19 situation that people talk about how they got to deal with the children. Like, yeah, now y'all understand how teachers are. So it's funny now. But I actually really enjoy teaching. It's just a part of me. I actually come from a family of teachers. My mom and my dad were teachers. I have 3 sisters, all 3 of them were teachers. My grandmother's a teacher.
Wow.
I literally, it's teaching's in the blood. I couldn't resist it if I wanted to.
But I mean, if you enjoyed it, I understand. I mean, I wasn't a teacher, but I understand there's certain parts of your job. I mean, I was a claim supervisor. I enjoyed working with my employees. I enjoyed doing other things. However, all the bureaucratic paperwork and the BS, and you're like, no.
Right.
So, I mean, I get it. And I used to know a teacher, and I know all the work that goes with it. So kudos to you for doing it.
Yeah, I just got burnt out. I did 10 years, and I said, this is it. There's got to be something else out there for me. And you all... really hope you all have a great life. I'm out.
Well, at least coaching, though, still fulfills kind of part of that because you're still teaching in a way. So that's a good thing. Yeah. We know you're married. Do you have kids or pets?
Yes. If you're counting pets, I have 3, but they're children. So.
Well, and some people consider their pets their kids, so it all works out.
Everything's interchangeable. I feed them, I clothe them. It costs me money. I don't really see what the difference is. I mean, it is what it is.
No, and I mean, dogs can talk back and cats can talk back, so it's the same thing.
There you go.
Just different. So from seeing you online at times, I know you like superheroes. I have to ask, is it Marvel or DC for you? Are you an equal opportunity person?
It depends. So again, this is not a cop-out. Marvel has the best movies, live action movies. They have the hands down. DC cannot touch them. DC has the best animated films. Marvel's is trash compared to the two. So it depends on what we're talking about. If we're talking about the cartoon series, hands down DC, Marvel doesn't touch it. We're talking about the movies, it's Marvel all the way. DC is struggling. Now if you're talking about the comic books, which is the source material, I gotta go Marvel. I have DC. I've been collecting since the early 80s. I have DC. I like DC, but Marvel is my number 1 love when it comes to the comics. So 2 out of 3 categories is Marvel.
Who's your favorite superhero?
Spider-Man.
Okay.
Without a doubt. Spider-Man, and then a close second is Wolverine. So again, different parts of my personality. Spider-Man is the jokester who trips up over his own feet. Basically, Spider-Man's constantly losing in battle. Wolverine is that dude that would just go in there and kill everybody.
True.
So those are my 2 favorites.
So I have to ask, do you ever watch anything on the CW such as Legends of Tomorrow?
I gave Legends of Tomorrow a chance. I came on board with Arrow. When Arrow first started, loved it. Bought the season 1, I got it. I mean, I got the DVDs. I bought the DVD. Season 2, got that. Arrow, I gave up on around season 5. Flash, I just gave up on this season with Flash. I was watching Flash from the very beginning. Loved it. The thing that drives me insane with those is their romance element. That's what's so funny about it. I can't stand the romance element of the shows, it drives me insane when we'll have a whole hours-long episode of Flash, and you only get 5 minutes of action, and that's at the end. And I was like, I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more. Legends of Tomorrow, I gave it a season. It didn't draw me.
You know, it got better after the first season. The reason why I asked is Mick, the guy with the fire.
Right. From
he actually, last season or season before last, he became a romance writer under a female pen name.
What's so funny is that episode, I actually saw that episode. I said, you know what, let me just sit down and watch Legends. And I saw an episode where he was sitting there reading a romance. I died laughing. I was like, oh my gosh, that is hilarious.
I thought of you. I mean, once I met you online and stuff, I thought of you when I was watching that, because it's like, really? There's a guy, a big tough guy. So I'm amused by that.
In Flash, I don't know if you watched the Flash, but one of the Harrison Wells, he was also a romance author. So I'm like, one of these writers, whoever with the CW, one of these writers has romance in their background.
No doubt. No doubt. It said that you mastered the art of daydreaming. So when did you start writing? Or, you know, I mean, daydreaming comes when you're a kid. I know that. But when did you start jotting down ideas for stories? I mean, was that recently, or have you been doing it for a long time and just never published?
I would say I have to do a rough estimate of around 2010. Okay. That's when I really started just sitting down, like, okay, you know what? Let me, like I say, I tell people this all the time, going back to Bonnie's Game. You know, when Jumanji came out, and then I released Bonnie's Game. People were like, oh, you should get a copy of Jumanji. No, I actually had this concept back in 2012 of a woman being sucked into a video game and living in the video game world. So I would say roughly around 2010, and only because my wife, going back to her, I think that's what I jotted down the concept of vigilante. Like, I'll go ahead and start writing this book out for you. Yeah. Well, actually, the only reason why I published Vigilante, truth. Only reason why I published Vigilante was because I said, you're obviously not going to read this book. I'm tired of it sitting here. I'm going to put it online and just see what happens. So I literally just put Vigilante online, gave it a cover, threw it online and said, let's see what happens. Maybe somebody else out there will read it and tell me what they think, because I'm tired of sitting on this book.
And you got feedback, and it was good, and you're still pursuing it. So when did you do screenwriting, if at all? I mean, did you just take that in college, or was that just something?
Yeah, I went to school for media studies with a screenwriting emphasis.
Okay.
So that's what got. Actually, I went back. Let me rephrase. I went back to school. Okay. Like a lot of adults do. I went back to school, and I said, when I go back, because this was after my teaching, I said, there's got to be something else out there for me.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. I went back to school for screenwriting.
And obviously, the marketing has helped. You know, the media, because you seem to have a handle on your social media very well. I will compliment you.
I'm glad you say that, because I sit here saying to myself, "This is horrible. I am doing horrible."
No, you're very engaging. You have a very engaging personality, and I think you connect with your audience very well. I mean, you seem to have it mastered. So, congrats on that.
That's one of those fake it till you make it right there.
So when you did Vigilante, did you actually do it in paperback for you? Obviously, yes, because it's on the back shelf. So the first time you held that paperback, what was it like when you actually held a paperback in your hand? You got that in the mail, and it was like, this is my work.
This felt really good. You won't be able to find this anymore. I published it in paperback, and I took it offline. I published it in paperback. I had them send me a couple of copies. I took it back. I said, no, I'm not doing it. So the only paperbacks a person will see will be the Frog Lady and Wing Woman. But it felt really good, to be honest with you. It was like, wow, okay, this is tangible. This is real. Mm-hmm. It's not, my computer screen. It's not my notebook. Mm-hmm. This is something that actually is tangible. And that's why I took it offline. Don't ask me why. I can't tell you. It felt really, really good, to the point where I was like, nobody else can have this. It's offline.
Well, I mean, maybe one day you'll put it back. If the series grows, maybe you put a box set together.
So actually, let me bounce this off. Let me throw it back on you real quick. So you tell me, because this is how I am. I pour so much into my characters
Mm-hmm.
that when I'm done with them, I'm done with them. Like someone asked me, would I go back and touch Vigilante again? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Like even when I, like I said, with Fog and Lady, I wouldn't go back. There's nothing. I've done so much with them. I'll continue a series, but I won't go back. So I don't think I actually would put Vigilante back. I mean, I say that now, and I probably will change it because I pour so much into them. It's hard for me to go back, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist, where I'm always fiddling. I'm always feeling to the point where I have to literally make myself just go ahead and put it out there because I'll always go back and see something else that I could do differently. So I don't want to go back. Let me rephrase it. I don't want to go back and do it because then I'll go back and do more, and I don't want to do that. Is that similar with you?
Well, let me. Is that it? No. Where is it? I have a spiral-bound copy of My Days of Dancing with the Dark Muse that is actually looks like a notebook. But as soon as I thought I was finished with the book, I printed it and gave it to a couple of friends to read. Okay. So then, last May, I printed it because I had a book signing at Barnes & Noble. So in June, I ended up ordering more copies because I was going to sell it and I got a really good deal. So I have 98 copies that have errors in all of them. And so now the cover wasn't particularly well received. So I had the cover redone, which I still control it. I mean, I just took a different picture and did it. And now I'm in the process of formatting hell for the last 5 days. So I'm reformatting it because somebody went in and fixed everything for me, but now I have to format it. So yeah, once I'm done with My Days, I'm done with this book finally for a year later. But the character's been hanging out in my head roughly for 30 years in some form or fashion, and he still comes to me at times, driving me nuts. So yeah. So I wish I am a perfectionist, and that is my problem. I was supposed to release book 2, and I wasn't happy with it, and so now I'm still working on book 2 in that series. So I get it. I do. Yeah. I do. But I think, I mean, you'll decide what you want to do, and I think eventually you may change your mind.
Yeah, honestly, I probably will. I mean, just speaking from my past experience, you'll never write a reverse harem. I'll never write a reverse harem. I wrote a reverse harem. I probably will go back, but for right now,
yeah,
I'll put it like this: I don't have the space in my head to go back and try to do it again. I got too many other things.
Well, I mean, and you don't have to necessarily go and change everything. The only reason I did was because things weren't well received, so it was my choice to do that. If I wasn't so worried, I would have just left it and kept it going. So I think if you put out, I mean, that's a nice cover. It's definitely got eye candy on it, so people would be happy with it.
You know what's funny? This is actually not the cover that's online. Oh. This is the original cover.
Okay.
This is like I said, a person won't find this cover anymore because I took it offline. So, and it's like, you know what? Yeah, no. Mm-mm. Okay. Yeah, the new cover looks nothing like that. And again,
that's true. The new cover I have seen, it's mainly a sword with, yeah, it's not, you're right. But that cover, I'm telling you, most likely you got your alpha male there.
This was the first cover for like the first month, and people loved it. Mm-hmm. But then I said, if I'm going to do a series, I want it to be, similar, and so I took it off.
So, what we talked about you getting that book in print for the first time. What was it like for you to get your first reviews?
Interesting. It was interesting because, and you tell me if you're similar. To me, every story I write is 5 stars. So if I get anything less than 5 stars, I'm like, not in the sense of, oh man, that hurts me, but in the sense of, what the heck is wrong with you? So someone asked me one time, what in my year journey, what have I learned the most about myself and my characters? And the thing I've learned the most is that I am very protective of my characters. I can take criticism. I really can. I can take criticism. But I've learned that everything is subjective. So I had one person tell me, I don't like your female character. She's too strong. I literally, the next day, a person told me, I love your female character and how strong she is. So I said, these reviews, honestly, I love the fact that people put reviews. We need reviews as indie authors to get going. I love them, but they don't really move me because I know how my characters live and breathe in my head, and I'm taking the mentality of I'm just sharing my characters with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate it. I love the fact that people take time to write reviews. I really appreciate that. I even put that in the books. I know that people have other options. Trust me, I know. Because my wife has so many books on her TBR list. She has other options. But when I got those first reviews, it was kind of like, and don't get me wrong, I think I have, out of all my books, I think I only have one, no, I take it back. I have a couple of them. But it took a while before someone gave me a 1-star review. And the 1-star review she gave me was on Vigilante. You know,
yeah.
I mean, a person's not hard. A person just go look and see the reviews. She gave me a 1-star review on Vigilante, and she said it was because she felt like he was stalking her, and that's a weird dynamic. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, she doesn't realize that he was actually in the grave for 15 years, clawing his way out. So by the time he gets out, because he's got powers, he still looks the same. But she's a grown woman now. He didn't stalk her for 15 years. So I was like, okay, you missed that part of it. So you don't understand. Okay, this book just wasn't for you.
Right.
So, you know, the first couple of reviews, they fazed me only in the sense of, I asked my wife, I said, you know, hey, I got a 5-star, I got a 4-star, I got a 3-star. What the heck is wrong with these people who are only giving me 3 and 4 stars? This is clearly a 5-star review. And then she was like, well, some people don't give 5 stars. You know, all these different things.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, forget it. If you don't give me a 5-star, there's obviously something wrong with you. But that's my mentality. I mean, honestly, that's just my mentality. Because, it's a blanket of protection that I've wrapped around myself. Because, like I said, everything is subjective. So if somebody doesn't like something, you can sit there and put something out, and some people are going to love it, no matter what it is. It could be a trash can. Somebody, that's the best trash can I've ever seen. Some people are going to be like, it's a trash can. And some people are going to be like, that's ridiculous. That's trash. Why would you put that out there? So I've developed the point where it's like, you know what? If it's not for you, it's not for you. Keep it moving. I'm glad you took the time to read. I appreciate it. But obviously, this just wasn't for you. So I don't even know if I answered your question.
No, you did. And I mean, you had asked me about mine. The lowest one I've gotten so far is a 3-star. Okay. The first day I put my book out, I had one person contact me. She read it in one day, which I was like, okay. Blew me away that she did this and gives me an awesome kick-ass review. Sorry, my language. 5-star review. So then months pass. I get this one review that's a 3-star review. And the lady says, I can't believe I finished reading this book. I hated the story, and I hated all the characters. And you know what my response was? Well, wait a second. I made you feel something. I made you feel hate. So I obviously still did my job as an author because I made you feel something. And you took the time to finish the book.
Yeah.
So therefore, ergo, oh well. You didn't tell me why you really hated the book. So I'm not going to let it bother me. And that's, the thing is, if you let those reviews get to you, they can kill your creativity easily.
Right.
So you just have to keep pushing forward.
I know for me, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
When I thought about it, I was like, okay, when I shop, I do my research. So, like, you know, if I want to go buy a brand new MacBook, I'm going to get online. I'm going to look at the reviews.
Right.
So as I look at the review, or if I go to a brand new restaurant, I'm going to get on Yelp. I'm going to look at the reviews. And I'll look at the reviews and I'll look at the 1-stars. I immediately jump to the 1-star reviews, but I want to see, why are you killing this? Why are you killing this Mac? Why are you killing this Mac? And a lot of times, these 1-stars, like you said, first they gave you a 3-star, they don't really tell you why. And I've come to realize that. So when I get these reviews, it's like, you know what? Even if I see a 1-star, if it's something that I want, I'm still gonna get it anyway.
Yeah.
So that's why the reviews, that they don't really bother me anymore. Whether I get it, and thankfully I don't have that many 1-stars. Because at first I was like, oh man, I got a 1-star. Oh man, no one's gonna buy my book anymore. No, that's not true, because somebody's still gonna buy this thing because it's a good story.
Right. And if you have all the other reviews, and if the 1-star doesn't have any details to it, like the 3-star I had, that's not gonna weigh very heavily, because it's gonna be like, well, why?
Right.
You know,
exactly.
give me some meat there. So what do you like to do when you're not writing?
I am a gamer.
Okay.
I am a gamer. Matter of fact, it's so funny. Because I do have children. I have two boys and a young lady. And my two sons, we literally just started our YouTube channel today. We're doing a family game channel.
Nice.
And that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be gaming. Because my youngest son, he's 13, he said, Dad, I don't see a gamer channel where there's a family of people gaming on the same game and competing against each other. So I said, you know what? Boom, let's go ahead and start a YouTube channel. So that's me. But if I'm not writing, I'm gaming. And if I'm not writing or gaming, I'm watching TV. I'm a homebody.
Xbox, PS, Switch.
I have everything but the Switch, and I told my son I'm gonna give him the Switch because for his birthday he was supposed to get the Switch, but unfortunately for his birthday that's when everything got locked down. So I say, you know what, when everything loosens up, then I'll go get you a Switch. But I'm that much of a gamer. If you name it, I have it.
Atari 2600.
Had it.
I still have
Gave it away. Wow, really?
Yes.
The controller and everything.
Yes.
I had it, and I gave it to my nephews. And of course, when you give something to people, they destroyed it.
Yeah.
I had Nintendo, gave it to my nephews. So I've just stopped giving away my system. But I will say, because remember, I don't know if you remember. I'm not going to say, do you remember? I got it my first video game, and I'm dating myself. I got my first video game in 79. And it was one of those big tabletop games. I actually still have that. It's called Dracula. I still have it, and it still works.
You're not dating yourself because I got my first Pong game, I think it was, in 1978. So, and you had like
high five.
Yes, you had like 4 options to play on there. And being an only child when nobody else wants to play, Pong can be quite boring. So you try to line up the things to get the ball to go back. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Being an only child, Pong is not the thing that you do.
Kindred spirits.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. So what type of things inspire you to write?
Oh man, anything. It's
okay.
My brain. I would actually like to do a case study on my own brain. If I could, like I said, well, Wing Woman, they just came out of nowhere. I'll sit there. I use this example all the time. I was a young man on a bus. Coming back from school, and I just riding because I'm an introvert. As engaging as I am and try to be, I'm an introvert. So I have no problem entertaining myself. And I would look out the window and I'd watch the poles and the electric poles go by, whizzing by. And then I started looking at the lines, the electric lines, the power lines, at the top. And I would just start imagining that there was a person up there skateboarding on the line and he'd go with me as I'm riding in the bus. And when the bus would stop in traffic, like he'd stop and we'd have a brief moment of conversation. And then the bus would go forward and he'd get back on his skateboard. I mean, inspiration comes from anywhere for me. I'm open to inspiration. It really can come from anything.
So what's your process like? Do you have music on or do you prefer silence?
It doesn't.
When you're writing.
I prefer music, but I've done both. Okay. The only thing I can't do, someone recommended to me to do classical music.
I've done that.
I can't do it with classical music. I can't do it with. I've done it. I don't like it.
Try soundtracks. If you use classical soundtracks from like older movies or even the Avengers movies, if you use those soundtracks, you can you just try to separate yourself from the visual of the movie. But there's enough power in it that it's still the classical music.
Okay.
But yet it's the soundtrack.
I'll try that.
Yeah.
I will try that. But like I said, I have this new one that I'm outlining, and I don't have a playlist or anything like that. So I'll try that. I'll get the Avengers, and I'll try it.
I used to write, back in the early 90s, I used to use Edward Scissorhands' soundtrack a lot. Danny Elfman did the music. And he's done a lot of soundtracks, but it used to be very soothing to write to. And it sets a great mood. And there's certain songs that will create a dramatic mood, of course, and then there's certain that are softer. So is this your writing space we're looking at?
Part of it, yes.
Okay.
Yes. This whole general area that I'm in is me. A little bit further to my left, I have a wall with nunchucks and sais on them because I do martial arts. Or nice. I did martial arts. And then, so this is basically my space.
Okay. So what books or authors have most influenced your writing?
Okay, so every time I get this question, it's always funny because I know I'm supposed to say You know, something classical.
No,
like
no, you're not
Shakespeare.
supposed to say anything. You pick it.
I am a big comic book guy.
Okay.
Uh, even back when I was younger, and my mom used to always take us to the library. Of course, way back before the internet and all that kind of stuff. So we would go to the library every summer when we came out of school, and every 2 weeks we get a minimum 10 books that we read and engulf and just digest in those 2 weeks, and then take them back. And I used to always get Garfield. I would always get the Garfield. Of course, I get Old Yeller. I get all these other books and stuff like that. But I would always have to get a comic, whether it was Peanuts and Charles. I would get those books as they compiled them. So, when people ask me what my major influence is, it's the comics.
That's fine. I mean, graphic novels can be just as intense as a regular book.
Yeah. I have about 5 graphic novels now that I'm like, yeah, I like these.
When Empire Strikes Back came out, I was at the grocery store with my dad, and I picked up the graphic novel. Then it was just a paperback. But it was like, that book I reread I don't know how many times as a teen. Because that was just, I love that movie. And back then, you didn't have access to just pop it in.
Right.
So, yeah, back then it was a big deal.
There was no quick search on Google to pull up the...
No. It was like, I love you, I know. You're never going to see that till God knows when. So let's see. Do you have a favorite type of music or artist?
I'd like to say I'm eclectic. I actually go... It used to be that I would say the only music I couldn't listen to was country music, but that's not true anymore. I actually do... I like Old Town Road. I like that. But I know that's not...
It's not true country.
Right. But if it's good, to me, bottom line is if it's good, it's good. I'll listen to it.
Okay.
I am getting older, so I will say this new... I've fallen into that old fogey bag where it's like this new sound of music is trash. I can't listen to it. I can't. So really the only thing I listen to now is the 90s and early 2000s. Anything past 2008, I don't really listen to nowadays. I'm stuck in the 90s. I'm that guy that's stuck in the 90s.
I'm stuck in
anything in the 90s.
80s and 90s for me.
I'll take that back. Spice Girls. Can't listen to them.
Can't
listen to them in the 90s. Can't listen to them now.
I will say this. I was not a fan of the Spice Girls. I had a friend who actually played with them. So we got tickets to go to the show. And after seeing them live, I changed my mind. Because they put on a hell of a show. And it was a theatrical production. So after that, I was like, okay, I can deal with this. Okay. So...
Well, in their favor, I love their videos.
I'm sure you do.
I love their videos. I just put their videos on, I couldn't do it.
Well, it is pure bubblegum pop. It seriously is. So trapped on an island, what's on your iPod? Music, movies, or TV shows? And besides a book and a pen or paper, what do you need to entertain yourself?
Okay, so trapped on an island.
Uh-huh.
I have the Avengers,
of course,
and like the very first one, I have Avengers and I have Avengers Endgame. So the first movie and the last movie, I have both of those. Musically, I probably have. Oh man, it's gonna have to. Oh man, probably Will Smith. I'm gonna have Will Smith because I've been really heavy on Will Smith right now as I write. I don't know why he keeps every time I put something on. And what do I need to entertain? Oh man, I'm on the island, so I don't have electricity, so I can't bring my TV.
There's always a generator.
Oh, well then I need a TV at my gaming console. But no, honestly, I have my Mac because I have games on my Mac.
Okay. All right. Favorite movie of all time?
Avengers.
Favorite TV show?
Avengers and Spaceballs.
Okay.
Those are my 2 all-time favorite movies.
Okay. Favorite TV show? You can name one from the past or a current one.
The A-Team.
Okay. Mr. T?
Mr. T. George Hannibal. All those guys.
Face, yep. Although Face will always be Starbuck. The guy who played Dirk Benedict will always be Starbuck. Even though I like the new version of Battlestar Galactica, he'll always be Starbuck.
Yeah.
So yesterday I saw you online, and you said your favorite vampire was Klaus from the originals.
No, that's the one I want to kill.
So who?
He was so annoying to me.
So who is your favorite vampire?
Favorite vampire?
Uh-huh.
Wow. I'm gonna say it would be a tie between Blade and Morbius because of the comics.
Okay.
But Blade isn't technically a vampire, so Morbius.
Okay. All right. So did you like the originals, or did Klaus just make you want to kill him?
Say that again?
Did you like the originals, or did Klaus just want to make?
No, I barely got into the Vampire Diaries. The reason why I started watching the Vampire Diaries is because my wife, she would watch it every. And that once they move past, again, I'm a romance writer, but I don't like romance in my TV.
Understand?
But once they got past that whole Elena and Stefan, and they started getting more into like the dramatic elements of it, not necessarily the romance part of it, but the dramatic. Then I really started getting into it. But then when Klaus came, it was like when he was the bad guy, cool. But then when he started going with Caroline, and it's like, dude, no, just stick to the part where you want to take over the whole world and change everybody into vampires. Okay, that's the part. I don't care nothing about your love life.
So, what are you currently reading?
What am I currently reading?
Mm-hmm.
What did she give me? My wife just gave me a book by Bella. It's sitting right over there. Bella somebody. It's a football. All for love. Bella love. I don't know. Honestly, I've read the first 2 pages, and it's not for me, but I'm going to plow through it because it's a part of my research, because I want to write a sports romance novel. So I'm going to read this sports romance novel to see how another author did it. I try not to read a lot in the genre I'm writing because I don't want a person to influence my writing.
Yep.
But I do need to do some research on the style. So I can already tell these characters are going to annoy me. But I'm going to read it because she's like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. So that's what I'm reading. I know that was a horrible reference. Anybody that likes it, kudos. Please go read it. But
I mean, there's a book from an Australian author that I loved her. I loved her first series, her second series. The first 2 books were great. By the time I got to the third book, I was just kind of like, I can't deal with the female lead. I can't. Anyway, do you have another release coming out in 2020 or a work in progress?
I try to put out a book. Here's the crazy part about it. I try to put out a book a month. Like I said, I just got started last year. I'm on my 6th book. I took a couple of months off to write. I actually started writing Wing Woman in March, and it took me that long till now in the May to put it out there. I want to have another book done by June.
Okay.
By the end of June.
And does it have a title?
The Bartender.
Okay. So June, any particular end of June it'll be out?
It'll probably be end of June. Yeah. That's the target. Okay. That's the target. Now, if it takes me until August, but I honestly, in October 2019, I challenged myself to put out a book a month. I put out a book in October. I put out a book in November. I put out a book in December. Put out a book in January. Put out a book in February. Then that was it. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I need to take a break for a second. But then that's why I started writing Wing Woman. So I'm gonna try to go back to that goal of trying to punch out something quality, not quantity, but quality. I just want to try to challenge myself to do that. So by October, I want to try to have 12 books out, but I'm not going to reach that goal. But I'm only halfway there. We're almost at October now, if you look at the calendar. But yeah, that's my goal, to try to get something out. But if I can't get it out by the end of June, it'll definitely be by the end of July.
Amazon had somebody that from like the end of March, I think it was March 20th to April 15th, had put out 200 books. Wait, let me fit. Yeah. Amazon didn't catch any of this. They had put out, I think, 200 books. What this person did was take covers of other authors' books and the insides and renamed them and put the same contents in it. And Amazon, yeah. Well, a couple of fans recognized what this person did, and they took them all down quickly. But yeah, it was just kind of like, really? So there's still, that happened the year before too. So there's always people that are just trying to grab stuff. And
so as good as Amazon's algorithm is, they didn't spot that someone wrote 200 books.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm like, really? How do you not catch it? That's not even, and if you're hiring a ghostwriter to do it, you're not making that much. So why would you hire a ghostwriter to do it?
Right.
I don't know. So if you could choose 3 people to invite to dinner, who would it be and what would you serve?
Choose 3 people to invite to dinner. I had an answer. Okay. One would be Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Okay.
One, definitely Mark Twain. Wait, because these aren't guys, I can choose anybody.
Yeah, you can choose live or dead, doesn't matter.
All right, so Jean-Claude, Mark Twain, and who is that third guy? Who would I invite to dinner? Can it be a fictional character?
Yeah.
Definitely Wolverine. I'm definitely bringing him to dinner.
And what are you serving?
As much as I like Spider-Man, I wouldn't bring him to dinner. I'd definitely bring Wolverine. He'd be the coolest one to bring along with you. That'd be something, man. Jean-Claude Van Damme, Mark Twain, and Wolverine. That would be a dinner.
It would be. It would be. And you know, after watching Jean-Claude Van Damme on his Amazon show, he seems to have a sense of humor. So it would make an interesting dinner. What are you going to serve, though?
What am I going to serve? I hate chicken, so we're not serving chicken.
Okay.
It would probably be shepherd's pie.
Okay. Okay.
That way, some nice little mix of stuff in there.
Yeah. That sounds like, and it's a nice comfort food, so that would work. That would work. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Extremely optimistic person. Extremely happy, optimistic.
I can see that. I mean, you exude that. So, you know, you exude happiness and you exude energy, and that is just infectious and contagious. So, kudos. Let's see. We already talked about that. So, huh?
I said confident, happy, optimistic.
So before we close this out, is there anything you might want to add that we missed?
No, first off, I appreciate you. Thank you very much for inviting me to do this. No, it was exhaustive. Obviously, you know, hey, go check out Lawrence Hall, Lawrence Hall Facebook.
Well, I was going to say, where can we find you on social media?
I'm all over the place. Instagram, Lawrence Hall Author. Facebook, I have a Facebook readers group. It's Halls of Romance. You can come there. I'm always in the Halls of Romance. That's pretty much the only 2 places. I have a Twitter account. I don't use a Twitter account. I have a mailing list. You can join that. Amazon, you can find me Lawrence Hall. I'm all over the place. So and then I have LawrenceHall.com. I'm sorry, LawrenceHallAuthor.com.
Okay. Well, I thank you for allowing me into your world and all of us. And I hope when you have a new release, you'll come back and talk to us.
Oh, definitely. Hey, as long as you have me.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely enjoy doing this kind of stuff.